Is that
She
correct?
does, yeah. We had this house built so that we could incorporate the front half of the house is separated from the main house. And so it's a hair salon on the front side. And that was part of the issue. I was actually looking at Generac and some of the different generators because this part of Fort Worth is just booming with construction. You know, it's constant that they're bringing in new power lines and new homes. And we lose power at least once a week over here. And we had several situations where my wife had a client in a chair and the hair was wet and, you know, they're in the process of coloring or whatever they're doing and she couldn't even blow dry their hair. And I had a small Honda generator. I ran her an extension cord one day. I was like, okay, something's got to give here. We can't keep this up if we're going to lose power once a week. And, you know, you're looking at 10, 15, 20 grand real quick when you add a whole home generator. And so when they started the chatter about the batteries, I jumped on board and started reading the contracts, and I couldn't figure out, okay, where is this coming in free at? And one of my EAs is a good friend of mine. He's a real estate agent and a king at reading contracts. And I called him up and said, "You go through this and tell me what I'm missing." You know, it looks like to me, worst case scenario, I hate this thing. I'd tell him, "Here's $1,000, come pick it up." And he said, "Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I'm reading too." And so then we both came down. I'm 30 minutes from where the meeting was down here in DFW, the big meeting. And so we got to meet the guys at EcoFlow and we drilled them question after question too. And we're like, okay, I don't see a negative here. And if I'm going to sell it, I want it on my house so I can show it off. And you know, everybody keeps talking about these batteries. I'm sitting right out here by mine. So I'll flip it around here and you can see we've got it right on the side of our house. It's a heck of an install. We got the two batteries and the inverter and the smart panel. And mine's on the side of the house, so you don't really even see it from the street. But we actually had a solar panel guy that was trying to sell me solar panels 6 months ago. He showed up today. He's like, "Well, I see you got a battery on the house. Can I put some solar panels to charge it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't need that. Well, I don't really have a." I said, my whole goal with the solar panels was, you know, I was thinking I was going to try to eliminate an electric bill. Well, instead, we eliminated our electric bill by selling electricity and making enough money that it offsets that, you know?
Yeah. I love
So,
it. I love it.
so it's been good. We still lose power about once a week. And like the other guys have said, you don't have a single flicker. You know, we don't have to reset the clock on the microwave. We don't even know it's out. We get a text message that says power is out at your address, and then, you know, whatever, 30 minutes, an hour later, it says power is back on, and we don't even know it. And I haven't checked
What's
either.
the longest you've been out?
4 hours so far.
Okay. I'm curious to have somebody go out and check that battery after.
68%. But
That's what it went down to?
it's what it went down to. But we're running the pool. We've got a 3,000 square foot house, two AC units. I'm in my shop now. It's running a mini split, and my wife was working the whole time in the salon. So she's running all her tools, the hot water heater, you know. So we pull a fair amount of power every day. Well, I think anybody who's wanting to be successful or is successful is always looking for that opportunity for residual income. You know, that's what got me into it in the first place. You know, what are we going to do when it gets to that point where I can't drive 3, 4, 6 hours a day and continue to work? And, you know, my wife doesn't want to cut hair her entire life either. And so we're always looking for what is that retirement plan. You know, especially with these batteries, you're talking about a 15-year residual. You know, the other thing that was great is you gift it to the next person that buys your home if you want to. So, you know, you're not stuck with it. We looked at solar panels and all that, and you're really putting yourself in a pickle in those situations. There's no pickle here, you know. So I think people who are successful are going to have the tendency to ask a lot of questions. So you need to be ready to answer those questions. Poor Josh, I blew his phone up left and right. He made the mistake of calling me on his cell phone one day so I could text him during the day. And he got plenty of text messages from me, and I just kept saying, "Where's the catch? You know, I don't understand how you're doing this." But when you actually do understand it, and you look at how the virtual power plant works, and you look at how AI is purchasing power from the grid and selling it back when it's at a, you know, or using it when it's at a high rate, you know, it makes total sense. You know, all these solar panel companies are going out, and nobody's got a one-to-one buyback anymore. So even these people that have solar panels, I see in the near future, we're going to have something for those folks. The solar guy today, he's like, what do we got to do to get you some solar panels? I said, guarantee me for 15 years you're going to give me a 1-to-1 buyback. He's like, oh, you're right. I know I'm right. Because I got customers calling me trying to get out of their solar contracts going, okay, tell me about this battery. So one of my friends is putting one on his house. We just got him rolling a couple of days ago. So I got confirmation that he's getting a battery here in the DFW area. I got another one right here in Justin that started his contract. So, I think the more we see it and the more people hear about it, it's just going to be automatic. If they meet the criteria and they got the right square footage and the kilowatts and the credit score, it's going to be a no-brainer.